the disarming of the communities are very much required. Some of the weapons have been recovered. It is very good news, and things are improving in my information as I receive. However, as we have seen in last, say, about more than 100 days, the firing are mostly happening in from hillside to valley side mostly. And also the Armed Forces Special Power Act is already there in the hill states. And as I have mentioned earlier also, the weapons at valley side can be recovered with operations through police or through central military forces in presence of district magistrates if required. So recovering arms and weapons from the valley people is not a big problem. However, in presence of the more than 40,000 central forces, including army and paramilitary, some rifles, and the visuals which comes up in the media, a lot of automatic rifles and weapons, snipers you have mentioned, those things, how will recover? Because the SU agreement is one of the impediment. You would be saying that I have been emphasizing on SU again and again, because without the SU is in fact protecting. Without abrogation of SU, the recovering and conducting an operation to the SU militant groups or the cadre groomed by the SU militant groups will be very difficult. So disarming is very important, and to disarm, the SU abrogation is very much important. In presence of so much of armed forces, we are not able to recover those highly sophisticated weapons as we have seen in many visuals in media. And also you heard in newspaper and others news channels that in month of May or early first week of June, 3 truckloads of weapons have come from Myanmar, through Myanmar to the Manipur. Those weapons also must be floating here in India. They must be using at the right time by the, mostly it is believed that the Kuki community, the militant groups are getting those weapons. And
okay,
also,
Nandakumar ji, Brijesh Pandey this side. I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask you a question. If the SU agreement is the problem, how come the state has not responded properly to that, other than making a political reaction to it? And have you guys, I mean, by you, I mean, have your representatives or your own organization, have you taken it up with the Union Home Minister, and what has been their response so far?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an excellent, fantastic question. This is one of the most important questions you have asked in so far the programs you have run. The Manipur, the Kokomi has taken up this issue with the Home Ministry recently in last week or so, I think. They had a discussion with Amit Shah, Home Minister Amit Shah ji. However, Amit Shah said it is there, they will look into it. However, you would have seen that the military are not able to do anything in terms of, in presence of the SU. So this is once again, I would like to emphasize that from valley recovering weapon is very easy.
Intervene here. When you say,
Nandakumar,
when you say military is not able to do one thing, it's a political, it is not incumbent on Indian Army. It was a political dialogue initiated by UPA in 2008. So military is actually enforcing a political decision. It is not a military-led solution. The whole issue is 80% of the weapons in the valley have been stolen. 80%. Only 20% are there in Manipur. But before that, let me read out something. Something good has happened. At least that should be part of it. Then I go back to this weapons debate. Mobile phone internet. This has come out. Can you just put it on the screen? So Manipur Governor, Speaker, Cabinet Minister, Advocate General, Security Advisor, Director General, Vice Chancellor, Superintendent, 5 members each from telecom service provider, members of expert committee, staff officers, PA to Manipur, officers of security agencies, recommended by Assam Rifles up to commandant level, director, medical superintendent, all of them will now have mobile telephony. This difference has come. Now people will have mobile telephony. So my question here is, General Saab, when so much of the government paraphernalia can be made accessible and net be made accessible to them, why are common people being left, sir? I'll come back to the guns, because guns wali baat bahut important hai. Why shouldn't this be? Why shouldn't this be given to common people, sir?
Absolutely. See, there is no doubt. Aim is to give to everyone, but still the situation is not normal, and they are still feeling that in case if you open an internet, that can be misused to spread rumors and all. After all, the situation has come to some sort of normalcy, and there are no fresh killing.
General साहब, सच तो केवल इंटरनेट पे ही निकला था. ये भी सही बात है. सच इंटरनेट पे ही निकला था. सच को दबाया भी जा रहा था, पर निकला इंटरनेट सही.
That is fine, but the issue today is, do we want to proceed further or we want to go back? In the sense the opening of net, absolutely correct, I agree that sort of banning internet is not a solution, but it is a temporary solution. Slowly, steadily, they have to open up. There is no doubt about it. What you are saying is that internet has got its positive also, negative also. My only question is that the issue today, to me, it looks like that, is that disarming of the common public or cookies and Meiteis and getting these weapons is the biggest challenge today in front of the security forces and the government of the day. Because till these weapons are not being taken back from the society remains charged. As brought out that there are more weapons in valley, less in hills. Notwithstanding that, how do you this combing operation? I agree on this.
Sir, tell me, I always ask this question, how do you get the weapons back, sir? If you would have been in charge there, sir, if you would have been a serving officer in charge of the whole operation, how would you have got the weapons back? बताइए आप जरा, आप पहली चीज क्या करते?
You see, I'll tell you, I've been telling from day one that initially when this problem occurred, this should have been a very effective unified command, which should have been under a military commander. Notwithstanding that, there is a unified command which is functioning. How these weapons can be withdrawn is that you have already passed an instruction that these weapons should come back. They have not come. The only way is combing operation. Search and cordon. You divide the area, carry out a cordon and search operation, and go house to house. You have to do it. Have a magistrate with it, because there is no Armed Forces Special Power Act in the valley. There are about 19 police stations which are without basically Armed Forces Special Power Act. It is a slow process, but it's the most effective. Is by doing a combing operation called cordon and search operation has to be done, because the weapons are now at large and they are not coming back. In spite of instruction and also been a lot of effort made by the civil administration, other than the small weapons, the higher caliber weapons are still at large, and that's why the environment is charged. So therefore, this is the requirement of day you do combing operation. You know, the problem which is coming is that everyone is saying, as on today, why there is some sort of peace is because there is a buffer zone between both the communities, and this is between Meiteis and Cookies. There are Army column, Assam Rifle and CAPF. Now, this is not a permanent solution. This is only temporary solution to ensure that there is a gap between that they do not fight with each other. But slowly and steadily, that mistrust has to be resolved, and this can only be resolved by the politician of the day, the representative which are there.
पर representative तो मिलने को तैयार नहीं है. 10 लोग कह रहे हैं कि हम आएंगे नहीं पार्लियामेंट और सॉरी असेंबली, and those rest of them who are there in assembly, the assembly does not run. तो गलती तो दोनों की है.
Absolutely, 100%, and you can't clap with a single hand. So the point is that irrespective whether they are from opposition or from a ruling party, whether they are Cookies or Meiteis, they must meet in assembly and resolve some issue. And it is a requirement and also responsibility of the government to provide adequate security to all the Cookies MLAs to come to Imphal and the valley floor and attend it. You have to thrash it out. My point is, as on today, things can improve in case everyone is brought into the same grade. And this can only happen once they are from BJP itself. They themselves are not attending. They are not divided between the parties. They are divided between the ethnic communities.
Absolutely.
That is the biggest problem. And that is where you have to break this ice. So two things which need to be done is, one is a big challenge is to get this weapon, which has to be done by a combing operation, search and cordon operation. And the second thing is that you do a back channel diplomacy, ensure this assembly again, take place, and it take place for adequate time, and ensure that the Cookies MLAs and Joe and Naga's MLA also participate, irrespective which party. You have to give some sort of semblance, and then only things can move on the track. And as of today, there seem to be a peace, but is it a peace only which is a solution? Or
no, it's not a peace. I'll call it spade a spade. Manipur has been divided, an artificial border has been created, both societies have weaponized themselves. It's a cold peace. It's not peace. Mr. Sharma, you wanted to come in? You had raised you had raised your hand. I'll come back to you, General
Yes,
Siwach.
yes.
Yes, come in.
Yes, we have talked only about the recovery of weapons from the valley side. So we must discuss how to recover from the hills where the people are roaming around with arms and weapons in front of the security personnel. So when they are roaming freely in front of the security personnel and nothing is done, so how it will be recovered is one question I would like to put, number one. Number two, I defer to use the term buffer zone. It has been heard many times in TV debate, the buffer zone. Why buffer zone? Manipur is a state. There is no two different countries. If you agree to the term using buffer zone, it's like Israel and Gaza, where you have a buffer zone, and the people are suffering. And the sentiments of the Meiteis are heard when we heard the buffer zone. And also the Meitei communities, when they want to go back to their homes or where their remnants of the houses are there, when they want to visit, they are not permitted, saying that it will not be safe and it is some sort of buffer zone, though it is not mentioned. However, the movement of the other community, Kuki community, are not restricted to any part of the state. So it is very sad.
But
To
Sharma
call,
ji,
to turn
entire
buffer
Kuki
zone.
community has fled the valley, you know. Let me be the devil's advocate in this context. उनके तो घर जल गए.
No, you see, one more the correction, I will make it Kartikeyan. See, if you see the number of houses burned, Meitei's houses are totally burned. In Churchanpur, there is no Meitei houses. Even the remnants you will not find. The grounds have been leveled. Similar is the case in Kangpokpi and also in More. So if you talk only about the Kuki, yes, Kuki houses have been burned in Imphal and they are lying as such and it is protected. Their properties have been protected by the security forces. Nobody can occupy or capture it. However, the houses burned down by the Kuki community at these places, Churchanpur, More and Kangpokpi, they are totally level and you won't find any traces of any burn down. You can see, I can send some pictures if you wish to see. And there is no
Do send me,
Meiteis. The
Mr.
victims
Sharma.
are Meiteis.
Do send me. Do send me. I'll put it
Yeah,
on
yeah,
air.
please.
Bhejiye, I'll put it on
Yeah,
air.
yeah.
I don't take any
Yeah.
sides. You wanted to come in, General Saab? Yeah? You raised your hand?
Yeah, very good. See the point what the group captain is also telling. The issue is that the effect is on the either side. One is very clear that the people who have suffered are both communities, whether it is Kuki or Meiteis. And there is a distrust and mistrust, which is now also still prevailing. And this buffer zone, basically, you call it any way. What has happened is that the two communities which are, that distrust is there is a chances of violence again coming in, that you keep them at some distance and put something in between. That is what it has been happening, and that's not a permanent solution. Such
But
solutions are only temporary in nature.
buffer zone has been implemented by the security forces.
Absolutely.
Don't you
They
recall
realized
Manipur
it.
police
They
fighting with
realized-
Assam rifle? What was that? You recall?
Yeah, very correct. See, what happened is that this is a temporary phenomena to ensure at least curtail the violence. And the affected parties are both sides. And that's why, irrespective, whenever there is a discussion taking place, the person or anyone who is representing Meitei, irrespective of the party, irrespective of what position he has a viewpoint and trying to support the Meitei, rightfully so. And so is the Kuki. The question comes in, somewhere there is a distrust and mistrust. How do we reduce it? And we have to start from the beginning. And very rightly we brought out, the weapons are not to be taken only from Meitei. It has to be also from hill. The solution has to be
saying,
equally
sir?
balanced.
Are you saying? I'm asking you a political question. Do you think that the Sioux agreements need to be reworked? Are you saying that, sir?
As of today, why I say the Sioux has not been a culprit, there is no weapon which has gone from Sioux, in the sense the suspension of operation. The keys which were there, this is what is my information is, so far no weapon has been looted from those armory. That is intact.
Okay.
Now, as far as the Sioux is concerned, that government of the day, the people who are there in the security forces, they must take it. If that Sioux has worked so far well, if there is a requirement of abrogation,
Correct. I think that's an important point.
You have to make sure that on ground, because you are on the top with
No,
them.
you have made one
Please
point that
understand.
those weapons are behind the armory. Mr. Sharma, you want to react and then I'll come to Mr. Haokip. He has a point.
Yeah.
वो weapons वही है जहाँ थे.
Yes, I would like to reply in this regard. Yes, the weapons deposited by the Sioux militant groups would be in the armory, in the safe custody. I don't deny that. There is a possibility. However, the weapons you see in the media and videos used by the Kuki youths, they are of the highest sophisticated. Where are these weapons coming from? If it is not used by the Sioux militant groups, then why it is not recovered? And it do not belong to the Sioux groups. And it should not have been a problem to recover such weapons. And firing continues from hillside. Today also, in the morning, a farmer was shot while he was in the cultivation. So, and he is in serious nature. So it started firing, and a small problem crisis happened in Naransena. It's about 40 kilometers from Imphal. So such small incident will keep coming up if we do not seize weapon from the hillside too. I do not deny that the valley side also would be having some weapons, and I am fully in support with the operations of military and the police personnel to recover those weapons, and it has been discussed many times in many forums and also advised by the many great intellectuals. But however, I don't find any suggestions or advice or any steps taken to recover the weapons from the hillside. This is my concern.
This is your concern. Mr. Haokip, would you like to respond to this?
Of course, some of the points made by Nandakumar is sometimes amusing because, in social media, there are many videos coming up alleging Kuki militants with sophisticated weapons firing upon the valley. Later on, many of the fact-checking websites has found that most of these videos are, taken from the, insurgent groups in Burma fighting the junta. So, it has been proven by fact checkers. So, the allegations of all this, sophisticated weapons roaming around the hills, of course, it might be exaggerated. That's something I want to put it straight. And, the constant, seeking of abrogation of SOO is something, like asking the central government to stop the ceasefire agreement with NSCN, which is the top, or the most fit or the largest number of insurgent groups in Nagaland and Manipur right now. So if you wanted peace in Nagaland and Manipur or in Arunachal Pradesh, how will you stop ceasefire with NSC and IM and talk about peace and reconciliation? It's not going to happen with that way. As through SOO or any other ceasefire pacts, the government of India as well as the state governments can talk and impose the kind of rules and regulations that have been set forth in that ceasefire agreements. So it's illogical to ask the central government to revoke the SOO and expect the arms and other ammunitions to return. We have to be logically looking into this. And if you want a peaceful Manipur where the common people are settling without fear, and there are peaceful settlement of militant groups and others, you have to talk with them. You have to give concessions. You have to look into the possibilities of having different peoples living together, and the state government should concentrate on managing diversity. Instead of that, what I would describe the kind of many state that we have in India is like a ethnocratic state where the state government is basically looking into the interests
Are you calling
of
Manipur government an ethnocratic? That's not the News9 view. That is your view, sir. Are you calling Biren Singh's government an ethnocratic government? Are you accusing it of being ethnocratic? Ethnocentric?
Of course, many of the states in India, especially in the Northeast, are ethnocratic in nature, looking into the interests of the dominant communities, the dominant ethnicities in that particular state.
Anyway, but that's not the part of the solution, Mr. Haokip. The part of the solution cannot be that you are ethnocratic. That is the domain of the politics. But right now, what is happening is the security issue, and security issue is getting complicated for the first time. And I've been saying this. Even in Kashmir, there are not so many weapons in the valley. There are not so many weapons in Jammu. Correct, the General Saab? That is the domain of politics. लोग कर सकते हैं अपनी politics. भाई हिंदू महासभा भी बनी, कांग्रेस भी बनी, मुस्लिम लीग भी बन गई वहाँ केरल में, but उससे nature of state पे फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. The constitution comes into force. Our institutions are run by the constitution. Citizenship is defined in our constitution. The basic structure of the constitution is there. 370 is being debated in the Supreme Court of India. So my point is very different, that there is a function of law which is not taking place, which is you get back the damn weapons.
Absolutely. See, there is no doubt. First and foremost, see, to
Internet
get these
bahal karne
weapons
se
which
kya
have
hota
been
hai?
looted, and looted from the armory of the police in Manipur. And the second thing is also there are weapons which has come from Myanmar, and they can be either in hills and valley, no doubt about it. I agree that having weapon in the society is a part of a problem, and the solution is only to get
General
that
Saab, एक
back.
चीज बताइए,
And-
इतने weapons, do you think that have so many weapons available in the Kashmir theatre, sir, like this?
Of course not. Of course not. And the point is that in Kashmir Valley, that Indian army and the security forces, to say correctly, are totally in grip of the situation, and there are only 40 to 50 militants left with almost no
40
weapon.
to 50
the morale
militants
is
left.
very high. And today, what is happened, the morale of the security force is very high, and all these militant groups are on receiving end. They are no weapon, no ammunition. They are ready to even raise their hand and surrender.
But
So
General
the situation
Saab,
in Valley
General
is
Saab,
totally
Assam
different.
Rifle is being led by our army officers, our honest
Absolutely,
army
that I
officers.
agree.
Their morale is being hit. Assam Rifle had to take out three letters against newspaper authors and other people saying that this news is not correct, and one was against an outfit. And we are questioning the
Absolutely.
morale of the, not only questioning, we are hurting the morale of our officers there.
As far as security forces are concerned, basically the
Sir,
central
I make a
government,
distinction
whether-
between Indian
whether-
Army and security forces, sir. Let me be very
Absolutely.
frank. There is a dead
No.
difference between Indian Army and other security forces. Indian Army
No,
is
if-
cut above the rest.
Absolutely, I agree with you. My point is, as far as Indian Army is concerned, this is a respected lot, and they feel it. This is totally, one can say, impartial, very objective. Go against those who are taking law in hand. So requirement is this. See, the point today is that my take is that if you have to resolve the problem in Manipur, you have to make sure these weapons are taken back, and you have to objectively apply a force against all those
But
who are
General
taking
साहब,
law in
फौज
their
को
hand.
फ्री हैंड
And
देना
you
पड़ेगा.
can't divide.
इंडियन आर्मी को
You
फ्री
can't
हैंड दे
divide.
देंगे तो 48 घंटे में खत्म कर सकती इंसर्जेंसी. The problem is that
Uh,
Indian Army is not being given free hand. That is the issue. They have
To
not
some
been given
extent,
free
you are
hand.
right.
Our officers
I
have not been
absolutely
given free hand. एक हाथ बांध रखा है.
Because I agree. You see, the point is that what is happening is, there's certain other things which have taken place over a period of time.
Politics.
The troops have moved out
Politics.
from here and gone to the Arunachal border. 19 districts headquarters, which is a police station. There are no Armed Forces Special Power Act. When you are operating there, you have to be empowered that, then only you can do cordon and search operation. Otherwise, you need magistrate. But I certainly agree on one issue, that the weapons have to be brought back and cordon search has to be done, and
Yes, sir.
also the security forces have to be
Absolutely,
taken
sir.
up. And there is no doubt about it. Until you are not clear on this issue, the next step you can't move.
Okay,
Because
Sharma ji,
all your
okay.
activities will come back.
Okay, Sharma ji wanted to come in. Sharma ji?
Yes, I have 2 points, quick points. Firstly, Mr. Haokip said the fact checkers have done it, the weapons and all those things. However, one video I have seen, the security person himself took the video. So that's one part. Secondly, I disagree with the Armed Forces Special Power Act being imposed in the valley and operation being conducted. The problem at hills could have been solved if Armed Forces Special Power is the only requirement, because in all the hill regions, this egg is still existing. If the same is to be imposed in Imphal, and because of this, the armed forces persons hands are tied, that means only Meiteis are to be killed, in my opinion, because as per the MHA report, Meitei insurgencies are banned, and they are disbanded from last 20 years. And also, after the SWI agreement, till 2005 to 2008, 4,933 insurgencies have been killed, and more than 15,000 have been arrested. So mostly they have been eliminated and some has been flushed out in the Myanmar, which they would have come, some of them. So if that is the case that army is to begin free hand, means all the Meitei community who are suspected are to be killed. Is it
No,
the
Mr. Sharma.
solution to this
No,
problem?
I must intercede here. We cannot say that army will get a free hand and the Meiteis will be killed. No. And I say this behalf of an Indian army. You are a patriot. I am also a patriot. Indian army's record is the cleanest. They are applauded all across the world, sir. Globally, ये जो इंडियन आर्मी को लेके जो असम राइफल्स को लेके हुआ है उसमें तो मैं अपना स्टेक आउट जरूर करूंगा. The whole issue is being politicized. I will give you the chance to speak, Sharma ji. I am not trying to, this politics, this attack on our armed forces, it has to come to an end. We cannot demoralize our Indian army. They are the last men standing. They are the last men standing. It cannot be done. We can have our debates about anything, sir. You can say anything and I respect you for that. You have come to my show. But it is Indian army where I stand. You can say about this to any chief minister. I don't care. You can say this about the cabinet ministers. I don't care. We can even fight on the prime minister. I don't care. But we cannot fight on the army.
Yeah, I also do
I
support
cannot,
Indian
we
army.
cannot.
Whatever
वहाँ
actions
मैं
and
और
that
आप
taken,
नदी के
I
दो
am with it,
दूसरे
because the
एक दूसरे
ground
के सामने
commander
खड़े
knows the ground
होंगे.
related.
फौज पे नहीं हो सकती बात. फौज पे सवाल नहीं उठ सकता इस तरीके से, सर. ये गलत बात है जब तक कि कोई आपने बहुत बड़ा शब्द इस्तेमाल किया. Meiteis will be killed, sir. I object to that, sir. I object to that, sir. No.
You said Armed Forces Special Power Act must be imposed, and this is tying the hands of the armed
You
force
can, no,
personnel.
sir, you can
That's
say
what I
that.
said.
You
I
can,
have no point.
Sharma ji, you can say that I disagree with you, General Saab. You can say that it should not happen. You can say that this is very wrong. You can say that Manipur has protested against it. You can talk about Iron Sharmila when you speak. But ये नहीं.